here. The governor tried to make it alone, really. He seemed like a very lonely person.
He really
But
did.
this makes Andrea's efforts all season seem more meaningful because I think it helped cause Rick to bring the Woodburyans into the prison, even though they all end up dying, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway. So what
I
do you think?
I think you're right, and I feel so bad for Carl in a way because although the trauma of losing Laurie is the more recent one, he's high tuned to notice that because of what happened with Dale, because what happened with Dale was so horrible. Like for Kid Carl, um, not killing that zombie and then the zombie coming and killing Dale, like that must have been just such a trauma for that kid to go through, and that's going to be on his mind constantly. And then to see his dad do the same kind of thing, um, it just compounds that feeling and that anxiety for him that if you don't kill people, they're going to come back and do something even more horrible. And yeah, although I hate what he does in this episode, killing that kid and acting like he's been a big hero and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
I can understand it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's an interesting what you say, the way that our responses to grief shape everyone's behavior in these episodes, and yeah,
And I mean, each situation. So Dale with the zombie. Why didn't Carl kill that zombie? Can you remember?
he ran away.
He just didn't do it because the
He was
zombie
throwing
was,
rocks at it, and he
oh,
ran away.
did he have the gun at that point? He did, right?
I
I can't
think
remember.
he
Maybe
did.
not.
I don't remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he did. He stole Daryl's gun.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think that's true. He should have killed that zombie, you know? I
yeah.
mean, you still can't blame him for what happened later, but there was no downside to killing that zombie, I think.
No,
But
no, nothing at all.
with Andrew, who went on to basically cause Laurie's death by letting a bunch of zombies into the prison, Rick kind of thought he killed him because he threw him out into the courtyard with a bunch of zombies.
Yeah, yeah. Kill him better, Dad. Kill him better, Dad.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Like, Andrew was enough of a bad guy that Rick probably should have made sure he got the job done. So, in that
Yeah,
situation, I could at least see an argument. Yeah, Carl, you're right. Rick should have made sure that Andrew was dead if he was going to throw him out there. But that doesn't mean that every situation where something you're not sure if it's a threat, you should immediately just kill the person. Each situation needs to be evaluated, right? Because
yeah,
you're going to come across a lot of people in the zombie apocalypse who you don't know,
yeah.
and you need people to survive. And so you have to be able to protect yourself while at the same time giving yourself some kind of a space to evaluate whether you can trust someone and show them that they can trust you, and not just be ready to fight and kill all the time. Because that's not strength, you know, that
Yeah.
you can never get the Commonwealth from acting like that.
No, you really can't. It is interesting to kind of look at all the perspectives in this episode from that viewpoint, though, isn't it? And the way that Carl's kind of mad at Rick at the end when he brings everyone back to the prison, he sort of rolls his eyes and almost storms off a little bit. It's, yeah, Carl's entering a rocky patch, I would
Yeah,
say. Understandably.
it's good
Good
storytelling,
Lord.
I think,
It
but
really is.
it's it, it makes me feel negatively towards him a little bit. Like,
Mm.
that's my knee jerk reaction. What a little shit, or what a little psycho. But
Little
then
twerp. Yeah.
you go a little
And you're
deeper,
like,
and it's like, oh my god, that's so sad. But
mm-hmm.
then we see that he turns out to be a really good kid, and then it's just such a tragedy that he dies so early. But I think I'm glad that the show got to the point where he was past this
Yeah.
and turned into a compassionate person.
Yeah. I also love comic book Carl for that. I feel
Yeah,
like comic book Carl has
so
such a good
good.
arc as well,
Way better.
right? Comic book Herschel, not so much.
No.
Many Herschel Reed, not Herschel Green. Speaking of people who were killed off the show, uh, Andrea's death, huh? How do we
Mm.
feel about that in retrospect, watching it again?
Well, I think actually Andrea's talking about how she tried to save everyone, and I feel a little better about it because I do think that ties in to all of this. I don't think I saw before that Andrea's example helped lead Rick to bring the Woodburyans in. And so it makes that ending feel like more of not just some random thing, but a natural progression of where the season's been going this whole time, that Andrea's been trying to foster a solution where there didn't have to be violence and where everyone could be saved and where people could work together. And then at
Yeah.
the end, that's what Rick ended up doing, trying to do that. So I feel like it all fits together a little better than I thought it did back then. All that
Yeah.
said, I don't know. Yeah, and I also really loved the tension of them being in a room together. We know Milton's probably going to die and turn into a zombie really soon, and she has to get the pliers with her feet and get herself out before that happens. That was
Hmm.
some good, tense, horrific moments there. I loved it.
See, I hated it on second watch. I didn't hate it. Hate it is hard.
Didn't like it.
This is where our cruelty conversation came from. Was Peter asked me, he's like, "How do you feel about Andrea's death?" And I was like, honestly, if I was Laurie Holden, I'd be pissed. I'd rather go out in a blaze of glory than this. It felt like, again, though, is this the rewatch because I know how it ends? It's less powerful and more frustrating. Me being like, this seems ridiculous. Like the whole thing with the, I know everyone spoke about it at the time, but like the perfectly pedicured feet and the fucking
I don't remember them talking about that.
pliers. But it's just sad. It's really sad. It's horrifically set up, with Milton there, and I just feel that moment where Andrea finally gets the gun and we hear off camera her shoot herself. I guess there's part of me that's like, poor Andrea, she wanted to end it all in season 1.
Yeah.
She got dragged through it. She got dragged back into life, and I hope that the time she had with Michonne was happy because, otherwise, what a miserable 6 to 9 months she's had. And then it ends like this. Ugh. Like, yeah, it's a bit of a woof for me.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is. Like, she tried to help. And I mean, that is the thing, is except for the fact that pretty much all the Woodburyans end up dying later on, take that away. For now, she did help. And the Woodburyans that are left, the vulnerable ones, because it's everybody who wasn't fighting, basically, the children and the older women, I guess, I don't know. They're all going to the prison now to join up with Rick and his group. And I think that's in part because of the example that Andrea set. So her death wasn't in vain. Her efforts were not in vain, I don't think. Whatever that's worth, I mean, she's dead, so that's it's not worth that for her. But I really think that this is a horror show and it's bleak, and not everybody's gonna have the kind of death where you feel good about it. In fact, almost no one is. Glenn didn't, Herschel didn't. It's just hard when people die.
Yeah.
But I guess the way we evaluate the deaths, I don't know. How do we evaluate the deaths?
I think one of the factors that we come back to a lot is the wider context, and I think this is the hard one because we know the wider context was that Laurie Holden didn't want to leave the show, and that there were other things at play, and that always makes it
She didn't get along with Glenn Mazzara, I think, was probably why she
and
had
that's
to go.
because she was very much a Darabont hire, and that's hard.
But as far as being a cool death, I think it was cool. I think it was great how that tension was there the whole episode with her and Milton. And I especially love the scene where Milton's like, and she's like, "Oh my God," and he's all, "Hello," and then when he does turn, it's right as she's finally able to get the pliers, so it's just at the last minute. And then I liked how you just hear growling and screaming. You don't see it. I thought that was artfully shot. Yeah, it was just a good horror movie death, I thought. And then when I'm glad that she got to meet with Michonne, before she passed.
That was a nice moment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they did a little callback with Rick on that. I know the safety and everything.
I know how the safety works.
Yeah. And then she says to Rick she wants to do it herself, which I think is a callback to her wanting to be able to end her own life earlier. I think it's sort of maybe a little ironic that her arc at the end here is wanting to save people, but one of her main characteristics has been wanting people to be able to kill themselves. But I guess it's all about choice for her. But then, then we see Rick and everybody except for Andrea and Michonne just outside the room, and the gun goes off. And I thought that was an artful way to present that too. Very sad. And you realize that Michonne's still in there with her, which is very intimate in a really sad way, but moving. And, originally it wasn't shot that way. They came back and reshot it. I have a quote from Dallas Roberts about it. He says, originally the beating scene that started the episode wasn't there. Originally I showed up and was led into the room where Andrea was, and I took the tools out, the instruments of torture that were laid on the table, and then the governor shot me in the stomach completely unexpectedly. And then I was left to bleed out in the same idea, basically, you're going to kill her now. There was a lot more of Milton trying to open the door and him trying to free her from the chains. And then there was a section where he was going to wrap the chain around his neck and try to choke her to death before he turned, so she wouldn't have to deal with Walker Milton, or Biter Milton, as it were. And then at the end of that, it was just Tyrese and someone else who found her. Rick and Daryl and Michonne weren't there. So it was essentially the same idea, except you saw me taking chunks out of Laurie Holden in that version. And then they called us back a few months later to reshoot it and made all those changes. So now you're not sure if I've gotten to her until after that door opens. And I think that's probably why they did it. I don't know why he thinks that was why they did it. But anyway, I think the way it played out sounds better than
I think so. That sounds that sounds kind of wild. Yeah. I think definitely the way it is depicted on screen is better. And it might explain why Laurie Holden had a pedicure. She had 3 months off. She was treating herself.
I think I talked to her about that on one of our interviews, but it's been so long. But I remember her saying something about, because I think Mazzara had been pushed out, and Gimple came back, and I think he directed the reshoots and did it in a way where it felt like it was honoring her more, where she got to meet with Michonne, and have that moment. And so I think actually she was happier with this ending.
That's good.
I know she was, than the ending that they originally shot. So at least there's that,
There was part of me in this episode that's like, Milton, for fuck's sake, just drag yourself over there and hand her the pliers. But he is dying.
That's true. Fine. That is a good
But point. I am also like, try a little.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna die anyway. Why not just?
You're gonna die anyway. You may as well go over it. He's just like, no, you have to reach them yourself. And I'm like, oh,
but I did like when he was saying things like, she's like, I'm gonna save you, and he's like, no, you're not, and you need to get out of there. You need to hurry. Like, he's just telling her, he knows exactly what's gonna happen. And I think Dallas Roberts was so good too.
The calm he has in this episode, even when he's being tortured, is incredible. He's just so resigned to it and so driven, and I love that.
Yeah, I think I feel differently about you about that part of this episode, which is totally great. It's fine for us to feel different, but I really liked all those segments with Milton and Andrea.
Yeah. It's just, it's a bummer. I didn't hate Andrea as much this time around. So
then it's more of a bummer that she's gone.
Yeah.
She had to die like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Merle, I don't think he wanted to leave either. Her career didn't go as well as his after this.
What did she end up doing after?
She was in The Boys a little bit.
That's right.
But that role is, what a role. And, she was in Dumb and Dumber 2, which didn't do that well.
Cool.
So she was in The Americans. That was good.
Oh, okay. Do you know I never watched The Americans, and I really
Me neither, but Karen loves it, and I've heard it's really good and that she's good in it. Laurie Holden.
Cool. And what did Dallas Roberts do?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'd like to look that up.
Mm.
I'd like to see him in something else.
What's your next point?
You want me to go, or do you want to go? Why don't you
You
go?
go for it.
Okay.
I chatted on about Andrea's death for a bit.
Alrighty. Well, let's see. The attack, the governor and crew roll into the prison, start shooting the place up. The whatever Michonne and everybody were doing last episode to try to slow them down didn't seem to do much. I think I heard a tire pop at one point, but it didn't really slow them down.
Michonne, your ideas were shit. Sorry.
Stick to the katana stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about 21 minutes and 22 seconds or so if you want to see me get shot inside the prison and fall and a bunch of gunk come off my head.
Excellent.
And then let's see, they drive the governor and crew out. It seemed like, why are they leaving? I need to watch it again. I only watched it once for this podcast, but it felt kind of anticlimactic. And I just remember the second time the governor attacks is much worse and awful, but narratively more satisfying.
Yeah.
When Herschel gets killed. And that was just a big moment that maybe I felt like they were like, we need to do that again and do it right or something like that. And that's where Rick goes full Carl.
Carl.
All right, I have another short one. Rick and Michonne.
Go for it.
So we were wondering if they would have any kind of a reckoning, and they sort of do. Michonne says, the deal the governor offered you about me, you had to think about it. You had to. I get it. And I'm like, really? It seems like you're letting him off pretty easy. He was going
she's into him.
give you a torturer. Yeah. But like, that's not cool.
No, it's not. I completely could not agree more.
What?
I watched that scene and I was like, this flirty banter is a bit weird.
It is weird. I know you thought about killing me, but you're cute.
Yeah, I was sort of like, I love Rick and Michonne. This chemistry's off the hook, but the substance of what they're saying is odd. I was like, and she's like, you saved me, and he's like, you had formula, and she's like, did you taking the formula? And he's like.
He says, I'm sorry, I came real close. And she goes, but you didn't, because you love me.
Because you love me. Yeah, it was weird. I was into it because the two of them, I could just watch them act whatever. But
yes,
I agree. He very much got off the hook quite lightly there. I was like,
after the first half of the season where Michonne seems like she hates everyone and doesn't trust anyone, and now she's like, oh, you almost sold me out, but whatever.
Whereas the governor does one thing and she's like, fuck you, man, I'm gonna cut your eye out.
I'm gonna like, chop up your zombie daughter.
Cool.
But whatever. And then she thanks him for taking her in, and he gives Carl the credit. Well, that was my son's idea. I didn't want to. And says Carl said she's one of them. And I think to try to figure out what she's doing, like I've said, she's just such a good judge of character. She knows their hearts, and she takes this as the fact that Rick did change his mind and wasn't ultimately going to turn her over as a sign that she is now one of them, and she's in the circle, and that they'll be loyal to her now. And she's totally right about that. If
she
that's
absolutely
what
is. Yeah. And I do think a listener wrote in, I'm so sorry that I can't remember which listener it was, saying that they felt that Rick was a bit unsettled by his feelings for Michonne. And while I don't think he's fully like in love with her at this point, I think there is something about her that's under his skin, and he is shying away from it a little bit in this scene when he's like, no, I didn't save you. Carl saved you. Like, yeah, it feels like they're doing a little dance there, which I really enjoy.
I like that reading. Yeah, because, his wife died like probably 3 days ago or something.
Yeah, she died like 2 days ago, maybe. My wife did like just die.
Just give me a week, okay? But they're really good on screen, even when it's weird.
They really, really do have such good chemistry. I'm just looking through mine. I really liked how they knitted in Tyrese and Sasha in this episode, because I hadn't thought about it in a long time. But yeah, getting Sasha and Tyrese to Woodbury and back into the prison group was a little bit of narrative kind of trickery there. Nothing, not like trickery isn't like a bad thing, but yeah, it was nice to see them just to really highlight that they're good people, make a stand with the governor and say, we're not doing that. We'll stay
Hmm.
with the women and children, and then, you can do what you want with us when you get back. What the governor would have done with them, I don't know. But it was nice to see that and to get a strong sense that Tyrese and Sasha are good people, and that they are at this point having serious doubts about the governor because they're aware that Andrea hasn't come back, or they think Andrea hasn't come back, and they're not comfortable with what they're being asked to do. Along with that, I'd forgotten how prominent Karen was in this
Yeah.
episode.
I
That was
forgot,
interesting.
yeah, that she played dead there. And I think the only reason Karen was an ongoing character for a little while until Carol kills her
Mhm.
is because they just needed someone to go back and report on what the governor did. So that saved Karen for a little while, you
Yeah.
know, for the story, I mean.
But even then, they kind of set up her and Tyrese a little bit because, they're talking to one another. It's like, Tyrese, Karen. Like, yeah, it's good. Although the yelling did make me laugh because they weren't exactly having a subtle conversation. It's like, why are you there? He killed them all. Okay. And I was like, maybe we could have this conversation indoors so that not everyone knows that everyone's dead, but sure. And then
They
of
need
course
to
Tyrese
know what the governor did, I
and
think.
but I mean, they also don't need to know that the relatives are dead in that
Yeah,
way. They could
I
maybe be
guess you're
told
right. Yeah.
nicer. And then, of course, Tyrese and Sasha walk to the place where Andrew is being kept with them. And I think that's really interesting because it's them sort of folding into the group and realizing fully what goes on under the surface at Woodbury. So yeah, we have Tyrese and Sasha, which is great.
At this point, up to now, Tyrese and Sasha to me seem like two just regular people, almost like fans of the show or something, who walked in off the street, or maybe not fans of the show, but just two regular people who walked onto this movie set, or and
Yeah,
they're like, what's going on here? Oh, you're weird. Oh, let me go over to you. No, you're weird. It's almost like they're sidelined and they're reacting to everything and don't
yeah,
know what's going on, and it just feels like they didn't, to me, I think, do a good job of integrating them into the story this season.
yeah.
And later on they do a lot
Oh yeah,
more.
they're right there next year, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's almost like
mhm.
maybe they should have waited or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
not giving it enough credit of the point of view of. But we already have the point of view of people who trust the governor
yeah,
that shouldn't. You know, we don't
right?
need another person like that to focus on. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just had one note that when Daryl said to Carol, Merle never did nothing like that his whole life. And Carol says, he gave us a chance. And my first reaction to that was, okay, cool. So people do know what Merle tried to do.
Hmm.
And I'm glad about that. But I'm not sure how it gave them a chance. He went
No,
there
I
and
was
got
like,
killed.
generous reading there. Is he
Did he kill a couple of their
dead?
people or something? I don't know.
What happened? He killed Alan's shitty son. Like, Carol was like, well, Yeah, that felt like a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Um, what else do I have? Glenn and Maggie shooting from, because of course the whole thing is it's a setup. They act as though they've left the prison. Then when they manage to successfully drive the Woodburyans out, it's very satisfying to see Glenn and Maggie on the deck, not the deck, the what do we call the bit where Rick and Laurie have those conversations? Fucking
Oh,
hell, I
like a
can't remember.
catwalk?
Bridge. Yeah, the catwalk.
Mhm.
That's great. On the catwalk, and they are a big part in finishing it off and shooting people. But they do not come to Woodbury when Daryl and everyone try and head out to finish everything, where they run into Karen. Um, the ending of this episode, three things really stand out to me. One is that it's weirdly upbeat. The second is that there's a lot of emotion around the Hyundai, which always makes me laugh. The Hyundai is very prominently featured. And the third is that the music in this episode, I mentioned it at the start, but it is very filmic. It doesn't feel like music from other seasons. There's very emotional, upbeat, swelling music at the end of the episode where we see that Rick isn't seeing Laurie anymore. There's this kind of
Yeah.
sunrise over the walkers. But throughout the episode, there's some kind of battle music that's very intense. It's an interesting soundscape. I'd be interested to sort of listen to it all while not watching the episode to kind of see what's going on with that because it really stood out to me on this rewatch.
I about not seeing Laurie. Yeah, I think once he lets the Woodburyans in, then he looks up where he's usually been seeing Laurie, which I'd forgotten she'd still been around in these later episodes, but she's not there now. So I guess she was there to tell him something, and now I mean, it's not
He's doing the right
supernatural. I
thing.
think it's all psychological, but he feels like that's settled. But I'm not
Yeah.
exactly sure what it was because I had always interpreted her being there as him sort of feeling guilty about not having saved her. So maybe that's it. And now he's saving some other people. So it's helping
Yeah,
assuage his
he's
guilt.
atoning
I
a
don't
little
know.
bit.
But I think the ending is actually fitting this upbeat ending because
Hmm.
I think not helping Orange Backpack Guy was one of Rick's lower points, although I know a lot of listeners wouldn't agree. But now he is helping people again. And so
Yeah,
it's a good high point to end the season on for him.
I think so. I also have trivia and a timeline check-in.
Nice.
Apparently, Dallas Roberts is not credited in this episode.
Mm.
The episode starts off with a close-up view of an eye and then pans out to show the governor's face. If we remember, the premiere episode for this season starts out the same way, only when the camera pans out, it reveals a walker's face.
Oh, cool.
Possibly a metaphor for how the season starts off with walkers being the biggest danger to the group and ends with them
Mm.
learning that other people are often a greater threat.
I also thought it was fitting that Milton, the zombie researcher, ended up as a zombie.
It's true. It's what happens if you dedicate your life to
Too close to your
academia.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the first time Beth has left the prison since the group arrived.
Hmm.
They say that like it's ages. It's probably been about a week. So,
And she didn't go that
don't be
far
too
out
hard on her.
either.
The music at the close of the episode is not the usual Walking Dead theme, but a melancholy piano ballad.
I noticed that.
And we've heard this before, but one of the Woodbury survivors, Brenton Cornwell, is the uncle of the first set of twins to play Judith.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This is the final appearance of Laurie and Andrea. The next fact, I think, is
Not totally true. They do a flashback of Andrea in an alternate reality when Michonne is all
That's
hopped
true.
up on hallucinogenics, although it's just reused footage. So maybe it doesn't count.
This next one, I think might be disproven now. At the time of writing, Welcome to the Tombs was the only finale in which a series regular is killed off, in this case, Andrea.
I have no idea.
Except
No,
the
I
series
mean,
finale,
yeah,
I think that
that's
might
the
be
first
right.
thing I think of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The sequence surrounding Andrea's death is a reference to the first season and her wanting to go out on her own terms, when her sister Amy died but being stopped by Dale at the CDC.
Mhm.
However, the reference to knowing how to work the gun's safety is a reference to her first meeting with Rick.
Yep.
In season 1, episode 2, in that scene, she holds a gun on Rick, after which he tells her the next time you should take the safety off. Now, this final spoilery one, I think, is incorrect in the first instance. Laurie Holden apparently asked to be released from her contract. I don't think that's true. I think she was pushed, but I might be wrong.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
And we are on day 313 and then 314, which is July 3rd and July 4th, 2011. Interestingly, on July 4th, when we go into the governor episodes, this is when the governor will wake up in the field and take the military vehicle to go and set fire to Woodbury.
Mm.
It's also when Morgan's apartment burns down due to accidentally knocking over a lantern, and he moves into the forest to continue clearing. And we'll see that in Here Is Not Here. So a lot happens on July the 4th that year.
The two governor episodes that are coming up next season are not loved by most fans. I remember liking them more than most people, but we've got two people who have requested to guest with us because they particularly love those episodes. So I think that's really cool. Rebecca Louise is going to be on for
Oh,
one,
amazing.
and Nathan Eshelman.
Oh, I like that.
So that would be cool.
Yay.
It's good to have, yeah, that kind of a thing. Maybe they can help the rest of us like them a little bit more.
That's super cool. I like that. That's good vibes.
All right. Only on The Walking Dead would the first rule of parenting be that you need to teach your kid that it's not usually okay to kill strangers.
Only on The Walking Dead would a pair of pliers be the difference between life and death. Or not.
Right. Okay, you had a news item?
I did. In the British Guardian today, it caught my eye that there's an article about Danai Gurira in the Global Development section, entitled Walking Dead actor Danai Gurira inspires African playwrights with Zimbabwe workshops. Television and film star, who wrote the first play to premiere on Broadway with an all-female and black cast and creatives, hopes Writers' Conference will bring on new talent. So, a group of upcoming playwrights is gathering in the Zimbabwean capital Harare this week for an 11-day event organized by celebrated American Zimbabwean actor Danai Gurira as part of her commitment to nurturing a new generation of dramatic artists in southern Africa.
Cool.
Best known for her award-winning roles in the Walking Dead series and Black Panther movies, Gurira is also a dramatist. Her plays include Eclipsed, the first play to premiere on Broadway, as said, with an all-female and black cast and creative team. Gurira says, what I kept experiencing was coming home from the US to Zimbabwe and finding people were not getting trained in the field of playwriting and playmaking. They were telling me they wrote a play in 3 days. Playmaking is hard. There is no sustainable piece of writing that can be completed in 3 days. I wanted to expose the Zimbabwean artists to process so they could develop their talent to its utmost potential. That is the only way we create work that is globally recognized. It is the only way we create work that tells our stories in a way that is undeniable and universal. So it's really cool. It's an interesting article. More than 500 African artists have participated in workshops devised by Gurira and her partner Tawinga over the past 11 years. They've been attended by guest actors and other industry figures from the US, including Walking Dead producer and writer Matt Negretti, and some other names we might recognize. And yeah, it's just a really cool event. I'll give Jason the link for the show notes. But she's doing some really amazing work fostering talent back in Zimbabwe. So yeah, go Danai. You're great.
Yeah, she is great.
I wonder
That's
if she
cool.
said that to the writers of Fear the Walking Dead. You can't write anything good in 3 days.
What are you doing? I wonder if she ever watched that show.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, I don't think that we've talked much about it on this podcast, but I think we all love 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, right? Do you?
Yes.
I love those movies. Those came out a while back, 2002 and 2007, respectively. And I don't know if you guys listening know, but they're finally going to do more movies. And 28 Years Later is coming out in 16 more years. No, just kidding. In June 25th of next year. So it's written by the writer of the first movie, Alex Garland, who's become since then one of my favorite directors as well, doing Ex Machina, among other things. And Danny Boyle, who directed the first movie. He's co-writing it with Alex Garland, and he'll be directing it, Danny Boyle. So in case that wasn't clear, Alex Garland and Danny Boyle are co-writing it. Danny Boyle's directing it. And the Wikipedia synopsis says 28 years after the events of 28 Weeks Later, the rage virus has returned, and a group of survivors must face a world ravaged by hordes of the infected, which makes me wonder if that's an accurate synopsis, whether the rage virus went away for a while since it returned. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I'm bringing it up now because they just released a really cool poster, which I posted on our Facebook group, and a lot of people seemed excited, and a trailer that people seem pretty creeped out by, including Lucy, who says
I'm
it's great,
obsessed with
but
it.
I haven't
I've
seen
watched
it.
it like 10 times. Without spoiling the content of the trailer, there's been a lot of articles about the soundtrack that they use for it. So rather than using music, they've used a 1915 recording of Taylor Holmes reading a poem by Rudyard Kipling called Boots. And the reason they've used it is because the US Navy, in real life, operates a training program called Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. And it's a training program designed to help people survive hostile environments. And one of the things they do to participants is lock them in a small cell by repeatedly being played the scariest thing that the staff have, and that's this recording. And it is creepy as fuck.
Interesting.
And it's use it in real life. It's not easy straight. Also, the trailer features the Teletubbies, which for British children of a certain age is
also creepy
enough. But honestly, Jason, I know you don't watch trailers. I'm gonna stop trying to.
I will watch it at some point for sure.
Yeah, it's great. I'm so excited. I've watched it about 10 times.
I mean, I just think, it's great that the two original guys are working on this. They've had a lot of time to get a lot of ideas, and I'm really, really hoping for something great here. We'll definitely cover it. I looked back in our catalog and I can't find anywhere where you and me or Karen and me ever covered 28 Days Later. We did cover 28 Weeks Later early on, and I'll put a link for that in the show notes in case anybody's curious. But I think you and I at some point before 28 Years Later comes out should cover 28 Days Later, and then we'll cover 28 Years Later when it comes out.
One of my favorite films. So yeah, definitely.
I can't believe we haven't on this show. I mean, it's such a great zombie movie.
Yeah, it is. And it really is.
It really is. Absolutely. And so they're hoping to make a trilogy of new movies. As far as I can tell, the second one, which is called 28 Years Later, Part 2, The Bone Temple, is a go. It's also written by Alex Garland and Danny Boyle, but it will be directed by Nia DaCosta, who directed a recent Candyman reboot and also the MCU movie, The Marvels. And then after that, an as yet untitled one, also written by Garland and Boyle. So if the first one does well, then we'll be getting more after that. And they have ideas.
That's exciting. I just want more trailers. I don't want more movies. I just want more cool trailers.
About the movie.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to listener moans, groans, and grunts.
Deborah Ulmer says, "Hi, Jason, Lucy, and Karen. I'm so glad that we're back to doing the rewatch. I'm still listening to the podcast from the beginning. My goal is to catch up so I can listen to the first run episode and the rewatch back to back. For this episode, I just had to write in to say that Andrea irks my nerves throughout it. She could have gotten away and/or helped Milton so many times. Those scenes frustrate me so much every time I watch. But some of my favourite moments that get me through are the subtle moment when Rick apologizes to Michonne and how they set up the governor and his people with the counterattack. Also wanted to let you all know that this was my #1 podcast on my Spotify Wrapped this year, and it was so great to see that. Thanks and take care." Thanks, Deborah. We'll send you your own personal thank you video, seeing as Spotify, again, did not ask us to do them this year. Rude.
Except we're not going to do that, but thank you.
No, we're not, but thank you.
And a few other people have been posting that we're their #1 podcast Spotify podcasts, which is pretty cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's nice to see. And thanks for doing that, Deborah. Josie Bone Echtel says, "One of my least favorite episodes of the series. I hate this episode for all the false hope it brings. It's like how Lucy said last week, it's ruined because we know how it all ends." I don't know what she means. I mean, is she talking about Andrea or what?
Yeah, maybe knowing that Andrea's going to meet such a grim end in the episode.
She says, "I must say I love Tyrese, such an underutilized and underdeveloped character. Milton dropping the pliers for Andrea was a great moment. It's frustrating that she still couldn't get away from him without a bite, even with one hand free. Honestly, I don't think that's too believable given her character and how savvy she's supposed to be at this point in the ZA, but I understand the plot needed her to go. At least she got to see her people before she went out." Martinez is such a yes man in this episode. You can do better, man. He even had the opportunity to go to off the governor himself. Damn. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that when he was standing there with his gun in the aftermath.
Alan tried and failed.
Yeah, that's right. He got shot right in the head. Man, that's such a crazy scene. She goes on, "Excited to see what season 4 brings and to hear your coverage on all the details of this episode. Happy to hear your voice again, Karen. Not an OG listener, but when I first discovered the pod, I went back to the original seasons." Nice, Josie.
Oh, thanks, Josie. Andy Fisher says, "Dear JLu, The pinheads are truly fucking with the wrong people. I love your rewatch discussion of The Walking Dead season 3. The characters are so well thought out, the writing, the look, the directing. What a terrific episode. My favourite part of this episode is the switch about halfway through the episode with the governor killing his own troops in a crazy self destructive rage. JLo, I miss your Walking Dead timeline discussion. Where does season 3 take place in the Walking Dead universe? And I love your segment, Only in the Walking Dead. I'm curious what your thoughts are about Michonne forgiving Rick for almost trading her to the governor. I think we did cover that, Andy, so I hope that was satisfactory. In a different universe, Michonne returning to the prison with her machete after being freed by Merle could have gone in a very Michael Myers revenge direction. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on season 4 coming up. Karen, we miss you. That makes me think of Steal My Sunshine. Karen, I love you. Andy says, R.I.P. Andrea, Frogface, and Milton. 5 pizzas and engagement ring. P.S. I'm joining Patreon for the sole purpose of hearing your critique of the later seasons of The Walking Dead.
Of Fear the Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking Dead. In terms of the timeline discussion, Andy, this is June to July of 2011, which is is less than a year after the turn, so we're 313 days in.
Yeah, and that is fairly close to how long we've been doing this rewatch. We've been doing it a little bit longer because we started in October of last year and it's now December, but somewhere in the range.
Oh, the things we've done.
All right. Andrea Abarca says, hi, Jason and Lucy and Karen. Hope you're all well. I haven't written in a bit, but I've been listening to you as always and enjoying the rewatch with you. As a Daryl fangirl, I wanted to add to your conversation about his emotional moments. He's had more than a few along the way. Hope these are not spoilers. I'm assuming at this point everyone has seen them. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the Daryl show, so hopefully you guys watch that.
Fingers crossed.
Because this is a Walking Dead podcast. So I'm not good at remembering the episode names, but after Negan killed Glenn and Daryl escaped the sanctuary, there was a scene where he and Maggie are hiding. He breaks down about Glenn, saying it's his fault, and Maggie comforts him. Oh, yeah, that was at Hilltop. He was hiding
they were in the pantry, basically.
Right. They were both so good in that scene. I remember bawling my eyes out. That was a good scene. There was also the scene where Rick blows up the bridge, and of course the scenes with Carol. It's true that Daryl is sometimes stoic in his emotions, but I think when they allow him to really play them out, it just makes them all the more heart-wrenching. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. If he was just crying all the time, then he'd be like, get a grip, buddy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents about Daryl. I actually watched this week's episode. I've only been listening, not watching. I'd forgotten so much. The governor shooting down all his people because they didn't want to fight is something that had totally slipped my mind. As for Andrea, I never liked the character, but her ending is always sad. I love the way the scene was filmed with Daryl, Tyrese, and Rick in the dark hall waiting, and when the gun goes off, the look on their faces. It's very emotional. I sometimes forget all these tragic but beautiful moments The Walking Dead gave us. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to remember. You guys are my absolute favorites. Aw, lots of love, Andrea Abarca. P.S. I did not like Carl in this episode. I couldn't help but laugh when he was giving Rick a, quote, speech. If I had spoken to my dad like that, apocalypse or not, he would have grounded me to my prison cell for a week. Okay, now I'm done. Bye. What if you had a gun in your hand and you just killed someone? Would your dad tell you to go to your room?
Oh, man. Oh, Andrea, amazing. Rachel Teal Edwards says, you kill or you die and you kill. So profound, governor. Michonne is so understanding, like way more understanding than any normal person would be. But that was a cute scene between her and Rick. I can't believe I was blindsided by their first kiss. Their chemistry seems so obvious now. Tyrese standing up to the governor was so hot. We'll stay here and defend the children. Such character and integrity it took for them to recognize the craziness and take the risk of basically just setting a strong but unusual boundary. No, governor, we're not killing on your behalf. John 5:29, yet another perfectly chosen and powerful verse. In biblical context, Jesus is explaining to the Jews who want to kill him that any authority he has comes from the Father, including the eventual judgment of good and evil, and at the day of the resurrection, the good will have eternal life and evil will be condemned to hell. Out of biblical context, if we are assuming this is Herschel's Bible and he did the highlighting, I see it as Herschel making a statement to the governor that this is Judgment Day and good will prevail over evil. Flame emoji. Or Carl just got really into reading the Bible off camera, identified a little too much with Jesus and the father-son narrative, developed a messiah complex, and used this verse to justify anyone murdering anyone he judges as evil. Also possible. Speaking of which, I like how Carl straight up lies at first about the kid drawing on them, and then he blames Rick for setting a bad example by not killing people. I did what I had to do. Okay. This is where that misdevelopmental stage of adolescence is really starting to show. Yikes. Some of my own personal judgments. Alan really was weak. He died proving that point. You just watched this man kill at least a dozen of his own people and you're hesitating? Bye! Karen, yes, thank you. Just play dead until he leaves. Seeing such a smart move was so refreshing. 10 out of 10 self preservation instincts right there. Martinez staying with the governor? Gross. But I guess they ditch him soon after this. Maybe also some self preservation going on at this point. Beth and Carol confidently killing walkers as the others leave for Woodbury? Badass. Again, refreshing to see how far they've come. Andrea's long ass pauses as she tries to break free. OMG. That death scene was actually really emotional, though. I know how the safety works. R.I.P. Andrea. We will barely miss you. Lucy, I really enjoyed listening to you and Peter a couple of weeks ago. Thanks, Rachel. Such a fun rapport. Plus, I appreciate all of your Parks and Rec references. At least one of them made me laugh out loud. Bye! Rachel, you've made me think. Milton trying to kill the governor was pretty brave as well. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Milton, finally has decided in this episode that he's not going to sit still and
to grow up here.
Watch, the governor.
Yeah. I can't believe you have not watched Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I know.
You should rectify that.
I mean, I always hear, it gets really good in season 2. So that is probably one of the things that stops me from diving in because I don't like to skip seasons.
Season 1's only 6 episodes. You can watch.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking it was like 22 episodes.
No, season 1 is only 6.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going for it.
Do it right now.
All right. Julie Heron says, hello, Jason. Hello, Lucy. Greetings from Portugal. I'm so happy that I can listen to people that are still interested to talk about The Walking Dead. A little bit about me. I started The Walking Dead 14 years ago, and it was with Game of Thrones, my favorite TV show. But then I lost interest when Noah died in season 5. His death was too gruesome and felt gratuitous and pointless to me. Oh, I love that one so much, the revolving door. But I was sad to lose the character, though. I heard bits and parts of the following seasons from my sister until she tapped out when Carl died. Understandable. I went back into the universe the beginning of this year when I learned that Rick and Michonne had a spin-off and were a couple. Wow, she just learned that they were a couple. That's interesting. Being aware that Rick was supposed to end with Andrea, I was intrigued about it, and I ended up being sucked back into this universe. After finishing the spin-off, I decided to go back to memory lane and watch the entire show. What a ride. I think of me starting the show in my early 20s and now in my late 30s. So many things have changed for me, but also for the world. I can definitely say that now it's my comfort show. My perspective for some characters and storylines are so different when I started to watch it back then. Here's a few of my takes on season 3. I don't fault Lori anymore for the Shane situation when she thought Rick was dead. But I think the fact that she was angry and a bit disgusted at Rick when she learned that Carl put zombie Shane down was the turning point in the end of their marriage and also the beginning of Rick-tatorship. Yeah, totally. Yeah, this 100%. Last rejection when he needed to be supported was for me something that can't be forgivable. You and Rick, too. I appreciate the softness of Tyrese way more than the first time that I watched it. Back then, I thought he was weak. 2010's me was toxic as hell. But now I have such respect for his character and the fact that he didn't want to lose his humanity. I'm also a bit sad that him and Sasha lost time with the governor. I wish Crazy Town Rick would be coming a bit later in the season so they didn't have to flee to a worse situation. Seeing Michonne being so suspicious of the governor when nothing really can explain her behavior made me think a lot about me and how most of my life I've seen red flags in people way before everyone, and I was seen as a bit paranoid when I was voicing my concern. It's funny when you see some parts of you on screen, you can see the perspective for the others around you, because I do understand Andrea in the beginning, not understanding her. So she's saying she used to be more like Michonne, paranoid and untrusting, but now she can more understand Andrea than she couldn't before. I'm the same way. I think I was probably always trusting, but I think a lot of people get more like that as they get older, more compassionate.
Definitely.
Anyway, I'm really conflicted about Andrea, as I think she was still a badass, but at the same time, such a bad judge of character to the point that it didn't make sense to me. By killing her, they wanted to open the door for Rick and Michonne's love story. But I think in the TV show, it was there quite quickly. The way they looked at each other since day one, the Claire episode, and the line, "It might be something else then," in the last episode of season 3, show their incomparable chemistry. And I never saw it between Rick and Andrea. No, I don't think so either.
I agree.
And when Andrea first appeared on the show, she and Rick, I don't think, were a couple in the comic yet. I don't know if Kirkman ever thought they would be on the show. Yeah, I don't know. She says, "Oh, well, I think it's enough for this time. I can't wait to listen to season 4, which is probably my favorite season. Now that I'm currently obsessed with the show, I have nobody to talk to as everybody moved on or never watch it. So finding your podcast was everything. I'm waiting every Monday for your episode and listen to you guys and hearing a different perspective from myself. I hope you'll keep doing the rewatch as long as you feel it, because I will be listening. Julie, a French girl who loved your pronunciation for the Daryl Show cover." Oh, that's nice. Merci beaucoup.
Thanks, Julie.
All right, couple calls. Here's Steve Brown.
Let's do it.
Hello, the cast of us, Jason, Lucy, and welcome back, Karen. Can't wait to hear you. Loved hearing you on the podcast, and love that you're coming back for at least this one. We're starting the season 3 finale. Welcome to the Tombs. What is this? Lost starting on an eye? Oh, it's the governor's eye. And the closed captioning gives away that he is torturing Milton. But we should have known that with the dialogue, right? Oh, this is a sinister, creepy governor. You take the heads. Oh, Milton left something on the ground there beneath Andrea. Yeah, I remembered that. Milton trying to kill the governor. Now he's going to leave him in the room with Andrea, isn't he? Oh, that was a long, cold open. I'm going to try not to go long on this one. Carl has the picture of him and Lori and Rick that they got from the bar, right? He and Michonne. And we need to watch that. Guess they're bugging out. Okay, so Michonne and Rick are having a talk about the deal he made with the governor and the fact that he didn't do it. So there it is. Oh, and the war begins. Well, looks like they cleared out, Governor. And who's going to be the resurrection of life and the resurrection of destruction? From the Bible. Meanwhile, back in Woodbury, Andrea and Milton's still alive, are trying to figure out a way to escape. Well, Milton's resigned himself to death, but we'll see. Oh, I didn't realize. I guess they are still in the prison, and they just lured the governor and his men into a trap, huh? Governor and his men just left. Okay, I don't remember how this plays out. Oh, I do remember this, though, with Carl and this kid with the gun. Okay, I know this becomes a big deal in the future with Carl shooting this kid. I think his finger was on the trigger of that shotgun. I don't know. It's questionable, but still, I think Carl was right. Even though later the writers decided that he thought he wasn't right. Ooh. I did not remember the governor gunning down his own people. And one woman survives by hiding under the dead body. Wow, this is tense with Andrea and Milton. And again, I don't remember. I remember kind of how it ends, but I don't remember exactly. Okay, what might the significance be of Carl dropping the badge? But still, I don't know. Once again, what's in the back of that truck that's covered up with the tarp? Why? What's the point of that? Truck that Rick is driving as he and Michonne and Daryl are going after the governor and his men. And they just found the survivor of the governor's tirade. Oh, and Milton and Andrea, meanwhile, back at Woodbury. Oh, the survivor is the Karen. Right. I remember her from the future. Oh, so the governor hasn't come back to Woodbury. Oh, Milton got Andrea. Okay, that's a joke, right? Andrea is saying, I know how the safety works because there's no safety on a revolver. And, Rick's going to get his gun back. Oh, no. And she did it while Michonne was with her. Okay, so this is how everyone else ends up back at the prison because they bring everybody who's left at Woodbury back to the prison. What is under that tarp? And Rick does not see Lori's ghost. All right, on to season 4.
What tarp?
I'm living for Steve's tarp truther. He's like, I'm a tarp truther. What's under the tarp? I'm like, I don't remember the tarp at all. Guess we'll never know, Steve.
It's funny, Steve, I forget who, one other listener did not remember the governor gunning down all his people. I don't see how you could forget that.
I think I thought it
blocked
happened
it out
next season. But yeah. It's
Yeah, I wasn't actually sure as it was coming. I'm like, oh, I think it's coming right now. It was earlier than I remembered to, so I guess I kind of forgot to. But I remembered it happened at some point because that scene really stands out as one of the Governor Starkest moments.
Honestly.
And one more call from Renee.
Hi, Jason. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Karen. This is Renee calling in again. Okay, let's get it popping. The governor is totally unhinged. Totally, he has flipped his lid. He has totally lost his mind. He is psycho. He is crazy. And I don't understand his people. The governor hitchmen were looking like, what the hell? I know this fool didn't just kill his own people. They were looking just like Negan's folks when he did something psychotic, but yet they still stayed. Baby, I would have snuck out the back door whenever I got a chance. Mm-hmm. And they could have tag teamed his ass. They could have tag teamed the governor. It was two of them, and both of them was looking oblivious. I do not understand that. It's no way. It's no way. It's just no way. And the budding relationship between our people in the prison is the reason why I fell in love with The Walking Dead. It's not the family you was born into, but it's about the family you build. Yep. And you can truly tell that they cared about one another. Even Merle saw it. That's why Merle did what he did, because he realized that he was not going to be accepted. However, they loved his little brother. And Merle wanted to give him a chance. So R.I.P. to Merle. And listen, the looks between Rick and Michonne is sizzling.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
I'm thinking that they didn't even understand the connection between them. But as a viewer, I can see it. I saw it from the very beginning. When they were talking about the baby formula, and Michonne said, you could have taken the formula. And Rick responded by, it must have been something else. And he did his little mouth the exact same way in The Ones Who Live when he was asking about RJ. And he asked Michonne, is he stubborn? And Michonne responded by saying, like his daddy. And Rick said, like his mama. Oh my God, I melted when he said that. He sounded so cute. And his little, his southern accent when he said mama, he said, oh man, I'm telling you. I'm telling y'all, I get giddy when I think about Rick Grimes. I love me some Rick Grimes. I love me some Rick Grimes. Now,
love it.
Sasha and her brother, I'm so glad that they stood up to the governor, because you could tell that they had morals and integrity. Tyrese and Sasha was a good fit for our group, and I'm happy that they joined our group. Now, Andrea, she was talking too much, and she was moving like a duck. When she knew that Milton was dying, baby, let me tell you something. I would have been cutting them. I would have had them pliers. I would have been cutting so quick. And she was just still sitting there running her mouth. It's like, girl, close your mouth.
Yeah.
Hurry up and cut whatever those shackles.
Talk and cut
get
at
your
the
ass
same
up
time.
out of that. That's why you did, because you talk too damn much. You talk entirely too much. And Carl, listen, Jason and Lucy, I know that y'all was saying that Carl was turning into a psychopath, but that baby was growing up in the ZA watching regular people that look normal try to kill them. And to me, his actions was warranted when he killed that young man, because he didn't know if that young man was tricking them to thinking that he was going to drop his gun and then turn around and shoot them. So I feel like he did what he was supposed to do. He didn't want to get caught slipping. So I feel like he get a pass. Now, however, I am glad that Herschel told Rick that, you need to help Carl, because Carl could possibly turn into a psychopath. Possibly. But that actual scene, I agree with what Carl did. And I also agree that, I agree with what Herschel did as well. Like Lucy always say, two things can be true at the same time. Carl, like I said, that little boy get a pass. I love Carl, and it just is what it is. I love him. Now, Rick Grimes, let me tell you something. He is so tactical, and that man stands on business. He was ready for the governor. He was ready. The governor, like Rick Grimes, I love this man, just everything about him. He does not play. Like I say, he stands on business. Do not come for Rick Grimes. The only time I feel like that Rick Grimes got caught slipping is with Negan. And I don't even blame Rick. I blame Jesus because he didn't tell him everything that he needed to know about Negan. Rick Grimes, like I say, again, and I'm going to continue to say this, that man stands on business. And I don't know if you guys know that Rashawn got voted one of the best TV couples of 2024. So for all these naysayers out here and all these people that saying they do not have chemistry, too bad, so sad. What about that? If they got voted one of the best couples, a lot of people see it. Y'all just choose not to see it. All righty. I will talk to you guys later. Peace and love. R.I.P. to Merle, Andrea, and Paula Milton. All righty. Bye.
Renee. Nice. Fully forgot about Jesus the character and was like thinking that we're talking about Jesus, the Son of God in The Walking Dead, and I was like,
Jesus
that
did Rick wrong.
Jesus did Rick wrong. He really did. I get it now.
Didn't tell him about Negan.
I know. The Lord did not inform us about Negan. Sorry. That was brilliant, Renee.
Thanks, Renee.